So obviously this is the second video because I'm computer illiterate and I don't know how to add to that. So anyway, now sink is cleaned out. Just make sure you keep the sink clean. Just because you have meat in there and But anyway, I mean I keep the meat in the bowl but still. Alright, anyway, that's my OCD. So we have a pork shoulder here. You can actually do this with a pork butt also, but I had both, and yeah, let me get rid of this. And now we're gonna lay it down on a cutting board so it doesn't go anywhere. I'm gonna move the camera just so you can see a little better. 'Cause if you can't see the meat, then I'm gonna, let's see, and how do I make this stand up a little bit straighter? Nope, it's too thick. All right. Now we're gonna get a sharp knife, right? I'll use this one. Yes, I still have my good knives. We're going to sharpen it just because you don't want to stab yourself. You don't want to cut yourself. You don't want it to slide off. The fat on them, as you know, is thick. And sometimes it's hard to get through. So it's safer if you have a really sharp knife. Sharp enough to shave your arm or your wrist. Yeah, that sounds horrible, right? Funny story. Back when I was a kid, I was at my great grandpa's house, and my Uncle Ed was there, who at the time was in a wheelchair, thanks to a drunk driver. But anyway, so it was Thanksgiving, and family used to get together. Yeah, our family used to get together, and my great grandfather said, "All right, Ed," to my Uncle Ed, "you're going to carve the turkey this year." To the man who had never carved a turkey in his life. I don't think at that point he had ever even cut up a chicken. So, gave him the knife, gave him the steel, that's what that's called, to sharpen the knife before he started. He had never used one of these either. So he sat there looking at it, and he's doing this. I don't know. Everybody laughed. It was funny. But I learned that day how to sharpen a knife. Because nobody in the family is going to ever laugh at me. I mean, they do anyway, but not for them. So you're going to rinse it because you don't want any, pieces. Like shavings or something. And some of them you can't really see, but you don't want it in your food anyway. Alright. So now we're going to try. Okay. Yep. So I have this section of my wrist that has no hair on it anymore. Because every time it has hair on it, I shave it. Or shave it. Which is kind of funny, but yeah. Probably shouldn't be doing that either, but anyway. So, really sharp knife. You're going to really hold it. Yeah. There's a bone running through it, as you know. So you want to sort of find where that bone is. And everywhere else, you're going to make a cut. You're going to go down. Okay? And you're going to make probably 2-inch, 3-inch, whatever. Just make it big enough so that your fingers, 2 fingers, can get down in there. Okay? And you do it everywhere. Because that's where the seasoning is going to go. You can even make cuts above the bone. Above any bone in there. doesn't need to specifically, you know, because some places near the bone you can't go down far enough. But these cuts are going to be on the sides, they're going to be on the top, they're going to be on the bottom. Anywhere you don't have a cut, you don't have seasoning. So just keep that in mind. Some of these, because of that skin, some of it is so hard, you got to start it, you know, going the regular way. Then you're going to cut. Break the skin, make the cut. Flip it. Same thing. Make sure get your fingers down in there. And like I said, even if you can't fit your fingers all the way, it's all right. Just do as many as you can. And I think I've got like, what, 3, 5, I think I got 10 on one side. Yeah. Can't go down here, can't go down here. Okay, now the top, sorry, the sides. Just watch your fingers. Remember, you have a very sharp knife in your hands. All sides. And if your holes meet, so what? We're going to make a hole where the bones are so you can get the seasoning down in there. There's a saying says hasta lo hueso, which means to the bone. And you really want to get as much seasoning as you can in there. Now, let me just flip the phone up for you so you can see what it was I was. See that? These cuts, and that piece is a little frozen. So I can fit a little past that first knuckles. Here we go. I'm like almost my whole hand in there. Same thing. All over. Now, if you want, you can cut this off right here and cut this entire skin off. Now, I don't. Sometimes if I can't get it to be crispy, you know, that piece, I will take it off after it's done. Take the meat out, tend to, you know, like wrap it with a piece of aluminum because you want to keep it hot and, you know, you want to keep the juice in there. And then put that piece of meat on a flat something in the oven and turn it up and let it just fry itself. Or if you got an air fryer, throw it in that. All right, now I'm going to take this and put it into our bowl. The bowl is already in the sink. Get the knife out of the way. So I'm going to show you. And again, now we got it in the sink. Clean sink. See that? Shiny. Turn the water on. Now we're going to rinse. We're going to rinse this whole thing. We're going to make sure the water's in every single hole. I know that some people do not wash them. I find it kind of gross, but turn the water off. I find that kind of gross that they don't. But again, we're doing this because we want to get anything, you know, gritty. Because sometimes when they're cutting the meat, the bone, especially the bones, you get that funny grit, and that's just gross to me. So we're going to pour this water out. Let me just get a grip on one of these pieces. Here we go. And don't worry, I'm washing this sink out again when I'm done with my bleach cleaner. So, now, and yes, I still have that for my dishwater. So now we're going to coat the whole thing in salt, right? Flip it. And this is just for me to make sure that, don't worry, the salt is not going to be remaining. Now we're going to add water. Just enough to cover, okay? You don't need extra, just enough. This is how you're going to have to get filled to the top. And this is going to, it's almost, believe it or not, it's sort of like washing or, I don't know, disinfecting or something, the meat. It helps to draw the, right now I'm just brushing the bottom to dissolve the salt so that the pan is filled with salt water that's dissolved. There we go. And you can tell that by when you rub your hand or pass your fingers over the bottom, there's no grit. All right, so that's that. See how your water is funky? Don't be afraid. You're going to do this, and you're going to let it soak. Okay. All right. Kiss, kiss, love, love. Yeah. I'm going to add this alone. Now, all right. Now we can get the rest. Just wash my hands real good. And then just put you on. Okay, now. So, doing the salt water does two things. It cleans the meat, and I know half the country washes, the other half doesn't. Personal choice. For me, with the salt water, it's sort of seasoning the meat, whether it's pork chops, chicken. Goodness gracious, I don't do it with fish, obviously, but I do it with all the meat. It sort of draws out to the blood out of the bones and stuff like that. But it seasons it to the bone. You don't have it's not a disgusting amount of salt there, and you're not really gonna taste that salt because it's sitting in the salt water that you're gonna pour out anyway. Okay. So now we're going to make up our dry mix. 2 more packets. I do it in a coffee cup. 2 packets. This is all going to be dry. My garlic. I have this Indian grocery that I love. It's on Moody Street, but they have all the spices. And where's your money? So I get garlic, granulated garlic, which is the flavor. For, oh my God, the one bag, I think it was $2.99. And it filled 2 of those containers. Just an FYI. Cumin, different bottle, but that's okay. Cumin. Oh, I didn't even tell you how much, huh? So the 2 packets and probably a tablespoon. Yeah, a good tablespoon heaping of the garlic, granulated garlic. The cumin, let me put it in my hand first and see. See if that looks right. Probably, no, yeah, a little more. Probably 2 teaspoons. So it's 2/3 of a tablespoon. instead of dirtying up two things. Okay, the only thing you don't need is salt, because we're going to add to it adobo. Adobo. This is like that Frank's Red Hot commercial. Put that shit on everything. They do sell this, I'll show you, in a low salt version. So it has half of the amount of salt than this one does. But I'm so used to using this that it's like the perfect amount of salt for me. And this is, if I remember right, it's like, it's salt, garlic, black pepper, oregano, and turmeric. So it's not really anything weird. So you're going to add this. Probably going to add, you'll be on the other side of it, probably 2 tablespoons. And that's it. That away. Excuse me. Now I'm going to get my spoon. Love this thing. You just mix it up until it's all, you know, the same. So that's what it looks like. All the same color. Now I'm going to grab some garlic. As you can tell, I like garlic. So we're only going to get 2, 3, 4 good size cloves. I press down on it. Sometimes I use the knife, except the knife is dirty. To just sort of break the skins, make it easier to peel. The ones that don't want to break, whack them. It makes it just so much easier to just take off the peel. One thing, when you're peeling garlic, right? Sometimes you get this little hard piece at the top where it was stuck to the core. You don't want that. Just peel that off. Or pull it off, whatever. Yeah. That one don't have one. It's usually on the pieces that are like closer to the middle. Don't know why. If you sometimes if you go to Market Basket, or certain Market Baskets, I guess, you can find garlic that's already peeled. I mean, obviously you're gonna pay a price for it, but you know, some people are about peeling garlic. Garlic on your hands. For me, I love the smell. But lemon juice, a metal disc, vinegar, or my favorite is bleach. Keep forgetting I hung up my. So, I finally got a knife holder that I like. I'm just cutting the pieces of garlic into like a thick sliver. I'll show it to you in a second. Because they're going into those holes. So I don't want it too big because then it's overpowering. So, thick slivers. You can see on the fingertip, it's really not that thick. But it's just enough because it's going deep. All right, so I got a plate so I can put the meat on top of the plate. I've got my mix. I've got that. I've got that. All right. Oh, and the other, you're gonna wrap it. You can put, if your fridge is empty enough to do it, you can put it in the pan. You're gonna roast it in, and just put it in the refrigerator covered overnight. The longer you can let it sit, it's sort of like marinating, right? The better. Do you have to? No. For me, you can roast it during the day, right? And eat it for dinner. If you're having something like in mid-noon, afternoonish, we used to put it in the oven at nighttime. Remember that? You'd wake up in the morning like, oh my God, you could eat a raw cow. Because you've been smelling it all night. You put it in the oven at like 275 overnight. You get up in the morning, take the cover off, and oh man. So let me show you the water. I dropped a whole clove of garlic on the floor and I was stepping on it. So now I gotta wash the floors again today. Just did them yesterday. Let me show you. See what that water looks like? Because it was drawing out the blood. So we got, really pink. This was a mark. Oops, this was a mark that was already there. It's not the ink. They didn't stamp this one. Sometimes you'll get it with a stamp. Don't worry about it. As it cooks, that stamp color goes away. But it's only food coloring, so it's not going to do you any harm. Let's drain off some more of that water. There we go. And so I'm hoping this fits in a big freezer bag. If it doesn't, I'm gonna have to put it into something else. I don't know. I'll figure it out. Because it's going in the fridge. It's not going to get put into the oven until tonight. Because I'm not doing that today. Okay, so let me turn you a little bit better. I really wish I could figure a way. Alright, maybe. Set me up with knives to make it easier. Okay. Just so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. I got a smaller spoon. This is one of those iced tea things. So it's a little smaller than a teaspoon, if you're using a regular teaspoon, no big deal. You're just going to scoop off a little less than what it fits. All right, so you put your finger in. So you're going to have one finger that stays wet, the other one dry, okay? Otherwise, you're going to come up with a mess. So you got a teaspoon, or you got the spoon, and you're going to just open up the hole, put it in. Then you take a clove of garlic, or a piece of garlic, and you put it down in that hole. And then you keep going. Some people think that this cut is too fatty for them. So, how we've always done it, except for today, because obviously it's going to work that way. You get in the Goya section, it's a mix of olives, and it's got the pimenta and all that stuff. You want to get the one that has no seeds. I mean, no seeds. No, what's that called? The pit out of the olives, because obviously you'll break a tooth. And you just put a little bit of each into these holes with the garlic. And what it does is the olives, you do the same thing if you were making lamb. You use the olive, and the olives cut the fat. It's an old trick an Italian woman taught me. And I usually do it, except I didn't put it on my list when I went shopping, so I forgot it. And then when I got home, realized, oh, crap, I finished it up last time I did this. I don't do it every time. Dingbat. All right, I'll do it when I come over there. I forgot to put the garlic in every one of them. So yeah, if you notice, we're like an even spoon, because it does have salt, and you don't want one bite to have more than another. We want to have a little left over for the tops, to just sprinkle over. Let me do this, and then I put the garlic in. I forgot where I was. So, oh yeah, with the olives. Yeah, I've tried different kinds of olives, and it didn't work. It didn't work very well with like the black olives. It tasted quite off. I guess that's a good way of saying it. So I'm just putting the garlic in the holes. No. The garlic is going to cook inside of the meat, so it'll taste almost like roasted garlic. I don't know if you've ever had that. Oh, it's so good. You would take a whole head of garlic and chop it off like here, so that each of this is exposed. You chop it off, put it in a little bowl or something you can put in the oven. Drizzle olive oil over it, a little salt, a little pepper, and you roast it. It'll change your life. Okay, let me. Oh, again, every hole is going to get a seasoning. If the hole is really deep, then you're going to have to do it, When you're done doing this, your hands will be orange. Don't worry. It comes out. And perfect. I have plenty left over. So I need to do this. And stuff that down there. Stuff that in there. Stuff that in there. Okay. Just remembered I had forgotten to do it here. Skin. So this is going to roast really low and slow, which is what you want anyway. Yeah, I wash them so often. I keep the dish in the hand soap. I don't know why I'm doing this right now, because I got to put my hands back on the meat. I didn't do the outside. When I'm working with meat, I don't use hand towels. I use paper towels, just, it's raw meat. Oh, I've got a couple of teaspoons in here. So you're going to sprinkle over, and I probably should have started on the other side, but it's all right. This is so the top is the one that's going to be like showing, like top up. And so you're gonna season that is seasoning that skin, that skin. And so you just sprinkle so that everything gets it. The skin, the counter. Then I'm going to flip it back over. Oops. Get the side. If I had gloves on, I probably would be massaging it in, like I used to, but yeah, screw it. Alright, I'm going to massage this shit in. Make sure that everything has it. And you in and out of every hole. Make sure that garlic is down there. The seasoning is in there. One more. In there. Make sure it's all in there and in there good. And everything has what they're supposed to. Sides, top, bottom. And everything looks the same color. Alright, let's try that again. Okay. Let's try this. I don't know. Maybe if I use two. See if gravity helps. The whole thing is in there. Don't know how, but it's in there. I'm going to need to get a second bag, so that's all right. Okay, let's clean the counter before it starts to stain. Oh, got a cut on my head. So just found it. Okay. You know those bags that you get at the grocery store with for the veggies? Maybe you could double it. It would be better. Oh, you stupid dingbat. I swear to goodness gracious, brains where I sit today. I didn't use the mix. Alrighty. Try that again. Alright. Bottom side up, which means fat side down. Just because when you're done. So we're going to open up our mix. Get a spoon. Now see how thick it is? So we're going to just put a little bit because, you know, it is strong, concentrated. If you don't like it concentrated, you can always, as you're going through that the process when we're making it, add more water. Or just use less. Use less, it just becomes concentrated. Or less concentrated, sorry. I'm using the spoon because I don't want to put my hands in that. Sort of contaminate the whole thing with pork. because I don't use it all the time for pork. So this mix, if you or the kids are in the mood for salsa at nighttime, maybe quick mix or whatever, or you're planning it, you take some tomatoes, chop them up, whatever size you need, usually dice, an onion, and a small jalapeno, seeds removed, and you put it in there. That's all you need. So, you know what? We're going with this sucker. Seeds removed, chop it up fine, add a couple of teaspoons, maybe do 1 teaspoon, mix it, taste it, and see. And a can of either tomato puree or crushed, the bigger can, personal choice. A little bit of vinegar. What is it again? Vinegar, peppers, mix it all together, taste test. And you'll be amazed. Homemade salsa, so much better. So this is going to go in the refrigerator. Just tie it up nice and tight. I double bagged it. Tie it up nice and tight. Put it in the refrigerator overnight. 1 second. Okay. And one more time. And we're going to flatten that. Try that again. Flatten it. So, like I said, it doesn't have to be an overnight thing. It just tastes better. What you're used to growing up was overnight. That's why it's sort of like fell apart and stuff, because it was cooked long enough, like low and slow. Just about any roasted meat that you make, that you do low and slow, is going to come out that way. Pork, beef, chicken. Sort of like the crock pot. Now, you can make this in the crock pot. Put it in a crock pot on medium in the morning and let it do its thing all day long. When you get home, just take that fat, because the fat is not going to get crunchy in the crock pot. But you can just put it in the oven or an air fryer until it does, and you got it on the wall. It still can't function if the kitchen's a mess. So, yeah. And there it is. Let me know.